Afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in today's panel discussion with some amazing producers in the American Indian Foods program. We're super excited to share their story with you all about their resiliency and their strength and the whole strategy and how they navigated through this uncertain time. Before we kick off, I just want to do a quick introduction of who I am, so you're not wondering who's this lady talking crazy talk. But my name is Latasha Redhouse. I am the American Indian Foods Program Director. I am, again, so happy that you could be here. I'm going to pass the mic over to our Mike to have him introduce himself as well.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for attending this virtual conference. Too bad we couldn't all see each other in Las Vegas, but hopefully that'll happen next year. I'm Michael Schellenberger. I'm a USDA Technical Assistance Specialist for Indian tribes and Indian people in Washington State. And like Lottie was just saying, is that we're going to be having a panel here discussing pivoting business and marketing strategies. Presenters will be giving firsthand accounts of their challenging experiences as they shifted their business and marketing strategies to incorporate COVID-conscious features and promotions. And I want to give a big thank you to the sponsors of the IC conference. This session is sponsored by the Champions of Native Agricultural sponsors, as well as Barn to Door. All right. First up, Brandy Button of Ramona Farms and Button Farms. Ramona and Terry Button have been farming together on the Gia River Indian community for over 40 years. Ramona grew up on the Gia River, gaining her farming knowledge by following her father around as he tended his crops and listening to his stories. And also we have Mr. Simon Martinez. He's been the operations manager of the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe Farm and Ranch Enterprises for 29 years and the operations managers for the Bow and Arrow Brand LLC for the past 5 years. Bow and Arrow Brand LLC launched in 2014. Mills and Packages, all non-GMO corn products. All the products consist of yellow, white, and blue cornmeal, grits, hopefully I get this right, polenta, yellow corn, flour, and clean shelled corn and cracked corn feed. All products are non-GMO, project verified, whole grain, gluten-free, and kosher certified. Simon also serves as the vice president of Dolores Water Conservation District. And last but not least, Chris Gates. He's been working on a consulting basis for e-commerce brands trying to grow their presence online through direct-to-consumer sales. In his current role, Chris heads the marketing department for Seka Hills. I'm sure you can correct me with that, Chris, if I got it wrong. A line of specialty foods from the Yoka Dehe Witten Nation. Boy, I'm going to have you tell me on that one right there. With an emphasis on estate grown extra virgin olive oils and wine. Based in Northern California, he has been with the community for nearly 1 year and continues to find new avenues for the company marketing and expanding business. And like I said, Chris, when you get to it, you can correct me on my mispronunciations. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike. And again, thank you all for being here with us. And again, we really want to hear your stories and how you implemented strategies to continue to engage with consumers. So kicking off, I just wanted to ask Brandy and Ramona. You guys have been in the business for quite some time now, and I just am wondering, at the beginning of this pandemic, what was your initial thought, and what was like your biggest worry as you started figuring out, working on shipping logistics, working on social distancing? What was your immediate thought, and how did you kind of remedy all of that moving forward?
Well, our immediate thought was to reach out to obviously all of our restaurants and see how they were doing and what their plans were. And, they were a large customer base for us. And really the pivot was the pandemic, because when all those restaurants closed, then we didn't have any of those sales, and they obviously were, shutting their businesses down or either just trying to stay open. So what we did was we completely stopped marketing and we reached out to our communities first and foremost, and tried to fulfill the needs in the food deserts and all of the people getting the food boxes. And so that we really completely changed, our focus, because the communities were reaching out to us as well. People were getting grants and programs to be able to do these food boxes across not just our local area, but the country. And so it's been really, really good to see that happen, and good to see the sharing of other people's information. We are constantly making sure to cross promote, as well as taking care of our distributors, so that they can provide the things that they need to as well to their local communities. You want to say something, Mom, about?
It has been, I guess you'd say, very sad to see this virus coming in onto the whole country, different countries even. And now food is so important. Everybody's looking for good food, good quality, good nutrition. And we have provided that all along. But now with this pandemic, there's food shortages of nutritional foods, and especially the Native Americans are now seeing that this is very important, that they go back to their traditional foods rather.
Right, and so it seems like everyone pivoted to taking care of their community. And community seemed to be a big pivot for a lot of Native producers and tribal entities. Simon, in your community, as you started rethinking your marketing strategies down there in the Four Corners area, how did you pivot? I know you guys have been in business for a few years now. You have been retailing your bow and arrow brand. How did things roll out for you? What were some strategies, or what were some things that you had to rethink as you started moving forward in 2020? Oh, 1 second, Mike.
Okay, that's better. I'll unmute myself. Okay, I think what turned the corner for us is our location has always been an issue because of where we're located, not being near a rail, or everything that we have to be is trucked out by semis. Social media became a large platform for us, I think, in 2020 that we didn't pursue prior. We had spent a lot of more time when we first started prior to 5 years ago was whole corn. And we had made the transition to non-GMO probably 12 years ago. And as we transitioned into whole corn, then into a milled product, we realized that in 2020 that a lot more people, say between the ages of 25 and 50, were not going out like they might have been prior. So we spent more time on social media and Facebook, and have noticed, and Twitter, that a lot more people are finding out what it was to stay home and actually cook from scratch. Now, our product is it's an ingredient. So we have found that a lot of people are going back to a lot of their roots. If it's Native American or non-Native American, that they can do this. They can go back and cook from scratch. And we have found that there's more people out there now that are willing to move forward on cooking for themselves, or cooking for their family, or buying gifts for other individuals. And we do a yellow, blue, or white non-GMO corn. And we have different granulations. And like Mike had said, now we are able to go into the polenta market, or the grits market, or a whole grain or a degerminated product. Now, we've done enrichment in the past, but we've pulled away from that. So I guess, Letitia, the answer to your question is the social media has been more of an advantage to us because of our location. So we find that people are more interested buying the 24-ounce bags than the 25 or a 50 that we're more used to doing.
Great, thank you so much,
You're
Simon.
welcome.
As a mom myself, I've definitely pivoted into, learning more recipes, trying to get creative. I'm lucky I don't have picky eaters, but I really definitely had to figure out, okay, what am I going to make 7 days out of the week? I've got to figure out these 3 meals plus snacks in between. Oh yeah, and I have to think about midnight snacks. It just became so tremendous for me. So I am so glad that my husband jumped in and started helping with these meals, because for a moment there, we were just saying, all right, cereal, here you are. But it's great to hear how you adjusted and rethought your packaging and your utilizing social media in that way to continue to share your story and engaging with consumers. Chris, with Seka Heals, you had established social media. You guys already were working on high level marketing campaigns, but I do understand that you had to close your showroom and you had to make different transitions, kind of coordinating with the different social distancing regulations or requirements that were put in place in California. How did Seka Hills navigate, and how did you continue to engage with consumers? And you could talk about your e-commerce strategies. We'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. So Seka Hills, and particularly our olive oil, it does have distribution. So there's really, when we think about it from a sales and marketing perspective, we have 4 channels that we operate in. So we have our tasting room business, which has obviously been severely impacted by COVID. We have our off-premise retail sales, and that would be your large store, small store, grocers, C-store, things like that, which is, depending on the type of store, has been affected more or less by COVID. Then we have our food service on-premise business, which is our restaurant business, which has basically become non-existent this year, and that's been the most impacted by COVID. And then we have e-commerce. So one of the big pivots that we did pretty early on was we really tried to rethink the path to purchase for the consumer. So before COVID, if we mapped out that consumer journey, we almost always tried to drive them in one way or another to our tasting rooms. And for this, a lot of our digital ads or our social media campaigns were very geo-targeted to a specific area. And that's great, and we want to drive people to the tasting rooms, but given that at the start of COVID we had to completely shut down, we knew we were missing out on potential consumers. And so all this led us to our most underserved channel, which for us was our e-commerce channel. So it really allowed us to leverage digital ads, in a way that we never had before. So whereas before our strategy would simply be to, when you think about social media, boosting your top performing posts just to get brand awareness and then do geo-target ads. But now what we really are trying to do is we are driving everyone directly to our product purchase pages on our website. And we no longer do push ads to target a geography, but we're actually really pushing a target demographic of consumer nationally. We've actually seen explosive growth by doing this, both in terms of our engagement on our social channels, as well as our e-commerce sales. So we're also, for the first time in the company's history, we're doing a lot of promos that are exclusive to our online sales, whether it be free shipping or % off after you hit certain thresholds of product purchase online. So this has even converted some of our existing customers that are within our region to becoming more of our e-commerce style customers. Often what we found too is that they're purchasing our products more for family and friends, which is an interesting trend, I think, with COVID as well. And then lastly, when it comes to e-commerce, we've really emphasized building our email list. We use a platform called MailChimp when it comes to doing email marketing campaigns. And we're also really emphasizing, so now at our checkout on our website, we capture customers' emails, as well as in our tasting room, we're capturing customers' emails, all to build up this network of an email target list that we can run digital promos on. And so in turn, actually year to date, our e-commerce sales are 6 times what they were in 2019. And so it's been a really, really big help. I'm not going to say that our business is exactly where we want it to be with COVID, but e-commerce has really helped alleviate some of that revenue loss that we've seen from our food service business mainly. So yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, it seems like a lot of the efforts kind of transition to pushing more e-commerce platforms, which is great. You know, we started utilizing more of these digital strategies as we started moving, as things kind of got chaotic for a second there. But it seems like with Ramona Farms, you guys also have something established which is word of mouth. You have, I've seen on social media, you have created partnerships with different influencers. You've worked, again, with that word of mouth, you've worked with community members in trying to capture new audiences. How has that been going? How has that word of mouth strategy been for you guys when everyone seems to be moving towards more of that digital strategy?
The word of mouth is, I mean, there's nothing that really can replace that. That's the best kind of push you can have. And we have done tons of social media in Instagram, not so much in Facebook or in Twitter, but Instagram's been really instrumental for us this year. And also it's been great for cross promotion of other people and, you know, promoting causes and bringing food knowledge and cultural knowledge and sharing. And I think that is really, it's helpful in the marketing because it gives you like more heart in the business and it draws more people to you. We have like a lot of the same strategies that Chris was talking about and have implemented those same things for us this year. And just really being there for the customer, really being, you know, listening to their problems from our restaurateurs to the wholesalers, to the distributors, to the communities, all the way down, just making sure to answer all those calls. I mean, we're constantly reworking, you know, different options for people to make our products fit for them for whatever need that they have, like with all of these programs that have come up. For us in particular, there's a lot of people, you know, who already know about us. And so, but also changing them from not just customers that buy when there's a big thing, but being a consistent customer and a returning customer, you know. So it's been good for us in that way.
Great, thank you so much, Brandy. And as we are talking about influencer marketing, it seemed like, Simon, you guys had worked with different Native American chefs this year. I've been noticing some cooking demos. Was that by chance, do you feel like, or, you know, was that something that you guys incorporated into your marketing strategy is working with Native American chefs and creating that kind of influencer model type of marketing strategy?
I would like to say it was something that maybe we had planned, but I think by chance, more people that had developed an interest, again, in cooking at home. And I know someone like Brian Yazzie, for an example, an individual that lives back east that isn't, pull this, okay. He helped his community in Dinit-Sotso, Arizona. And we also farm 7,600 acres of high quality alfalfa hay that is moved 80–90% of it into dairies, into the Comanche outside of Dallas, Texas. 30 to 40,000 3/4 ton bales a year. But what he did was he was able to contact us, help him provide cornmeal, cracked corn for animal feed, and then also he had purchased some alfalfa hay for his community. So I think word of mouth and being on the social media platform, the sous chef, and there's other people, Wasada, that we did Taste of the Southwest in Mexico, has opened up a platform that we knew was there, but we didn't ever tap into. But I think we've established a good quality product in the cornmeal. And we had done that years ago with our alfalfa, which the customers come to us, and it's all about a customer base and being able to provide a product, like you had said to Brandy, to return customers. We have a lot of new customers, but what I notice is a lot of our existing customers come back. So I think a lot of it was by luck, and a lot of it was by word of mouth, but people that are outside of our area in different parts of the United States, if it's Delaware, New York, Minnesota, Arizona, California, are finding out that it does mean something to have we raise the corn here, we harvest it, we store it, and we're able to provide a product to the mill, which is on site at our location. So I think to more people, that's becoming more of an interest of where it's grown, how it's grown, and who produces it. So we've had an interesting time to be able to develop relationships with Native American chefs and business owners that have provided product to not only their own people, but also to the outside that are interested also in a product like bow and arrow.
Yes, I agree. I think, my family's from the Four Corners area, and it was pretty interesting to them to learn by word of mouth. Again, me telling them, hey, you have this awesome product, go pick some up, or you could pick it up at this store. So word of mouth seems to still be a strong strategy. I don't think it's ever going to go away. And Chris, you guys really have a multi-mixed approach to your strategies. I mean, I've seen so many amazing things too come out of your social media, and from Seka Hills itself. I've seen chef demonstrations. I think I saw some holiday gift guide action going on. As you're developing this brand strategy, how are you making sure you're not losing your story? Because it seems like as we're moving forward, storytelling is becoming a huge marketing strategy. Everyone is yes, they're sharing this word of mouth, these digital utilizing digital strategies, but how are you making sure you're staying true to your story? How are you encouraging that compelling content moving forward?
Yeah. So I think historically, we've done a good job of telling the story of the product and not so much as good of a story of telling the story of the brand. So I would say, if anything, we've actually moved more towards really telling the story of the brand and what Seka Hills is, and that we're an indigenous product, and really moving that direction. So this year, we partnered with PBS. We did a special with PBS that it highlights reclaiming the land, and it really was much more about the Yoshidehi Winsa Nation than it was just the product, because we have seen those consumer habits that they want to support both local and they want to support good causes. So instead of just talking about the olive oil and the accolades and how proud we are of the quality of the product we've produced, actually moving forward, I think it'll it'll be even more about the story of the brand and the people behind it than it will, about the product. And I think that's a trend that's going to last quite a while. So again, things like highlighting the PBS special that was about our tribe, or highlighting or creating our own content and pushing it out to people that is much more, again, about who has produced it rather than what's being produced. I think that's still going to be a trend that we see going forward.
I was watching a Netflix show. I can't remember the title, but I was so excited to see Seka Hills. For a moment there, I saw the bottle.
Yeah, salt, fat,
Yep.
acid, heat. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a huge one for us. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about trying to learn new recipes. I was sitting there filling over my kind of over my head, and I was thinking, can I really do this? But I saw this like silhouette of a wine or an olive oil bottle, and I'm like, oh, I bet that's Seka Hills. Just kind of wishful dreaming, and then they did like this close up thing, and I was thinking, whoa, wait a second, that is so cool. I know the people. I thought that was pretty.
And speaking of word of mouth marketing, so the chef in that show, her name is Samin Nosrat. She doesn't do any paid sponsorships or anything like that. She will only work with brands that she truly believes in. So it's really great to have her as sort of a brand ambassador for us. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And Brandy, you guys also have been doing a lot of storytelling as well. I've been seeing Ramona in different video highlights. So how have you incorporated storytelling into your marketing strategy?
Well, storytelling actually has always been our marketing strategy. I mean, my mom's story is the foundation of how, it's just a story of our foundation and how we began, and the desire, the intent, the care, and the heart. And I really think that it has never left us. And that is what people are most interested in. People want to know a footprint, of where their products come from. They want to know that those foods have that intent of all the aspects of your story that is in the food when they're purchasing it and taking it home, to their families. So it's really not changed. What's changed for us, like I said, with the Instagram, is getting to share other people's stories who incorporate us into their lives and supporting their causes. And then in turn, it comes back to us tenfold. So that's the way for us.
That is just phenomenal. I love talking with our producers and just learning all of their different marketing strategies. As you move into 2021, we don't have a general sense of normalcy just yet. But do you have any tips or strategies that you could share with other producers that are trying to build out their 2021 marketing plan?
Being there for your current customers and seeking out the needs of, any potential customers that you might have, staying in constant contact, answering the phone, being there, having great customer service, making sure that you address all concerns that your customers have, and just, staying connected, being present in your community, and try to, be involved in as much as you can. Obviously, it's really hard to do when you're trying to produce and you're retooling your facilities and, having to do everything virtual. But we've been in like several projects, just stay involved. We did a project with the Public Running Museum where we work with chefs. We constantly are working with chefs. We were on PBS and Tastemakers last year, and then they aired it this year. And so, and Gastropod, we were just recently on. So just staying involved, and really just staying connected with your customers, and the continued word of mouth that just still works. But we'll have to look into that influencer thing. No, I'm kidding. But that's
Yeah. I just recently saw that there was an article that is it Gigi Hadid shared, and she shared the American Indian Foods directory, and I'm like, Oh, cool. Well,
Right.
there's a win for all of the American Indian foods producers. So there's your
Exactly.
influencer.
Yeah, definitely. When we put it on our invoices, we put it on our website, we put it on our, FAQ page, and, just really encouraging people to take a look back and see, how many other native producers there are across the country. It's really, really been great. So.
Great. Thank you so much, Brandy. And Simon, you mentioned one of our MAP or the MAP SRTTs who focus on foreign ags. They're part of the Foreign Ag Service. Are you all planning on expanding to begin exporting? And how has your global marketing been since this kind of just this lull, it seems like, but do you feel like you'll be working out a export strategy soon? And maybe that might be your focus for 2021?
Yes, it could be. We're back to location, costs. We have done some work in the Miami area, going possibly into the Caribbeans or into Mexico or into Europe. But being a corn-based product, our shelf life is a lot longer, 24 months, than it would have been when we were doing sweet corn, but you had a very small shelf life. But we have a few products that are going into Europe. We did work with trying to get in with a contract in Mexico with Coca-Cola, being a corn-based product, but financially we weren't able to handle the volume. We had another individual that came in from overseas that would have liked a larger quantity. We are kind of in the area of 2,000 to 3,000 acres of corn. And we're careful now with the customer base we have. We can do an X amount of acres of yellow, an X amount of acres of white. And what we're really proud of is our blue, but it's hard to find seed that's non-GMO related. But we've noticed that we can do a larger quantity for the chip business, the yellow corn chips in Denver, or the blue corn chip, blue tortillas that buy our blue corn. So it'll be interesting to see in 2021, Letitia, how this all pans out for us going other than in the United States. We'd like to, but it's harder. It seems we've worked with Wasada to try to get our product out further, but it just seems like we know what our baseline is here. We're able to provide employment for tribal members and non-tribal at the mill and at the farm and ranch itself. So I think the strategy, Letitia, with what you'd said earlier, it's nice to be able to be involved in something like this, Native American grown, that might be able to open that door to allow us to go further than the United States. So right now, I guess I don't have a real answer to your question. It would have to be financially feasible for us here at Bow and Arrow to be able to do something like that and still be able to make it profitable for the people that are working here.
Right. And we're really excited to have Bow and Arrow as part of an AIF member as well. And we look forward to working closely with you all. And again, I'm always excited because I'm again from Four Corners area.
Yes.
So everyone in that area always has a little special piece of my heart. I mean, all of our members do, but go White Horse
Beautiful
Raiders.
area, yes.
Yeah. Oh, great. Perfect.
Well,
Small world, right?
Yes, I've been blessed. I took a 4-year option for 30 years ago with no regrets. It's been a challenge, but rewarding. At the same time, to be able to live where we live via being in Denver prior to our stay here in the Four Corners, and I like to visit the city, but I think right now being able to stay in the open area and where it is now has been what's been best for me and my family.
Right. I hear that for sure. I love the open space, and that gives me a temporary break from my kids. Hence why I actually have my hair intact. um, well, Chris, back to you. What do you think? Because you guys have exported. Seka Hills has developed. I believe there was a Japan export opportunity, and that was maybe 1 or 2 years ago. And you can correct me on that. But do you guys see pivoting moving forward to pushing more export activity and working on your marketing plans on more of a global scale? Or is it more, you're thinking more of that opportunity lies within domestic consumer growth?
Yeah. So we do a little bit of business in Japan as well as China. China in particular, I guess the taste profiles when it comes to food is changing a little bit, so there is an opportunity for us there. That being said, candidly, with COVID, it hasn't really been that big of a focus for us this year, and it's probably something that we need to revisit. But in the short term, I think the lowest hanging fruit for us is domestically, because up until this year, we were such a small region of a brand with some e-commerce distribution across the country, and I think we have an opportunity to become more of a national brand within the next couple of years, and I think that's where at least from a marketing perspective, the majority of my time is going to be focused on.
Right. And I feel so like just excited sometimes when I am talking to different buyers, domestically and foreign buyers, when they're asking about our product, it's really great to say, hey, we have this olive oil. Do you want to switch up from that brand that you are purchasing? Because again, I guess that's the leverage you can play too, is that you are the only native olive oil, our native owned and operated olive oil company. So I love your product. I love everyone's product. So do you have any tips that you'd like to share with other producers moving forward as they're putting their marketing plan into place?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, but I would say as we come out of and move back in towards some form of normalcy, I think it's going to be a slow rollout. I don't think we're going to snap back into it. So, and maybe I'm biased just because so much of my background has to do with e-commerce, so I always push people towards that. But I would just say don't sleep on the e-commerce channel if it's an opportunity for you, and look into ways to get that distribution. And one of the ways is with if you guys don't know what 3PLs are, but if the logistics seem a little bit too complicated to manage an e-commerce business, you can partner with a 3PL, and they can actually help manage that e-commerce side for you and fulfill orders and really take so much of that off of your plate. So that would be actually one of my biggest suggestions to look into for those that are thinking about adding that as a revenue channel. But beyond that, it's been kind of heartwarming to see that consumers, when faced with one of the strangest times with COVID ever, their purchasing habits and desires have been to help others and to promote and purchase from brands that do have that good story, and they want to support one another. So I think kind of what Brandy was saying, like telling your story should be a huge push going forward if you believe that your story is a good one to tell. So yep.
Well, hopefully I get to come and visit everyone and help, I don't know, pick the seeds or harvest. I am getting a little lazy over here, just raking leaves. That's all I do. Before we close out, I'd love for each of our producers just to share how those viewing can go and support you you, whether it's your website or following on your Facebook platforms, feel free to share your information on that. We can start with Brandy and then go to Simon and
Well, you can follow us at ramonafarms.com. Check out our web store and order. And then you can follow us on Instagrams. It's Teppery Beans. So that's our Instagram handle. And look for us in any local activities. I'm teasing. Nice.
Great. And Simon?
I think, you know, being able to follow us on the Bow and Arrow Facebook, and we've been putting a few magazines, non-GMO, organic magazines, which has helped. But I guess just being able to be available through word of mouth, something like this platform, I think will help Bow and Arrow brand continue forward in keeping the existing customers and finding new customers through this type of a platform. So maybe on Instagram, Facebook, and word of mouth, I think is going to be a lot of it to keep us going, not only on the 24 ounces, but all the way up to, you know, today we did a pneumatic truck, and a lot of people are getting it in larger bulk for their businesses. So we're able to provide a service from a smaller 24-ounce bag up into the super sacks that are loaded out. So I think in that sense, we're going to continue to go forward and hopefully be able to do this again sometime soon. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. And yes, Simon. And I do love your tagline from our kitchen to your table. I think that's just so true.
Thank you.
Great. And Chris?
Yeah, you can, so our products are available at sekahills.com, SEKA hills.com. And then, of course, yeah, please follow us on social media. Our Facebook handle is at Seka Hills Products, and then our Instagram is just Seka Hills. But yeah, that would be great. And if you're in Northern California, obviously the situation in California is a little fluid right now. If we're open or not open, we'll figure that out as we go. But if you're in Northern California, feel free to come out to either of our tasting rooms. We'd love to have you.
Or you can fly us all out. Just kidding.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly.
Great. Well, I think this concludes our discussion. Mike, did you have any questions for any of our panelists?
No, but like I said, I want to thank you all for being here. And as you can probably already see, that Latasha is awesome to work with. So you're all very fortunate to get involved in this program at this time. Can't wait for COVID to come to end and really watch you all be able to get involved and increase your sales and your livelihoods. Thanks again.
Thank you
Thank
so much.